In this video, I'm going to show you how to fill out the commission section of the applying percents to real-world situations. And then I'm going to tell you how to fill in the information about calculating markup, which will have to go on the left side of the page with an example down below. So we're going to start with the commission section. So open that flap. We talked about how commission is an amount of money that someone selling an item gets paid extra from their job. So the proportion that's set up here for calculating commission is, again, like before, 1% over 100 equals the amount earned in commission over the total amount in sales. So if the total amount in sales is something like a $25,000 car, the car salesman might earn $250 in commission. So a commission is a fee paid to the salesperson that makes a sale. The commission rate is a percent of the total sales. So the commission rate is what goes here in the percent section. So this first example, Mike makes a commission of 45% on each TV sold at Conn's. Now, Conn's might not be the best name for a store. Seems a little shady, but we're going for a commission of 45% on every TV, and each TV costs $560. So the 45% goes in the percent section, and the $560 is not the amount of commission, it's the total amount if you sell one TV. So total amount in sales. How much money will he earn in commission for each TV he sells? So if you just sell one TV, so we're going to set up a proportion, and I'd like for you to pause the video here and go ahead and set up a proportion, and then play the video and see if the proportion that I set up matches what you did. And if it doesn't match, figure out what you did wrong. So the amount he will earn as a commission for each TV he sells goes in the top spot in the proportion, and that's what we're trying to solve for here. We don't know yet. So one of the ways that you can solve a proportion is by using proportional reasoning, and that works out pretty well in this case. So you can use a calculator to help you determine the value of, for example, how to get from 100 to 560. Or if you prefer to solve this a different way, you can use that method right now. So pause the video right now, work out what you think the commission is going to be, and then play the video to see if you did it correctly. So I solved this proportion by multiplying by 5.6 to get from 100 to 560, and did the same thing multiplying 45 times 5.6 to get to $252 commission. That seems like a lot, but if you sell a $560 TV and you're getting a commission that's nearly half of that price, then $252 would be your accurate commission. It's a very high commission rate, though, so probably that doesn't actually happen in reality. So down in the bottom section, we have Rhonda earning a 12.5% commission selling jewelry. How much does she earn on a 3-hour shift if she sells 4 necklaces that cost $125 each? So it doesn't seem like the 3-hour shift is important here, but it does seem important that she sold necklaces and each one of them cost $125, because remember, in our proportion we have to have the total amount in sales. So this total here, if we're doing it for the total of all 4 necklaces that Rhonda sold, will not be $125 because that would be the commission for just one necklace and she sold 4. So set up the proportion and see if you're doing it right by pausing now, setting up the proportion, and then playing the video again. So I have set up the proportion here, 12.5%. I put $500 here as the total amount in sales, and the missing information is the commission. When it says how much does she earn, that's the commission part. So you could have put $125 here in the spot for 500, but if you do that, that's a commission on one necklace, and then once you get that final value for the commission on one necklace, you would have to multiply it by 4 to get the commission on 4 necklaces. But since we've done this step of already putting 500 there, I put the wrong number here. It's 4 necklaces at $125 each, not $100 each. So since we've already done the math of how much that would be in total sales, $500, we saved ourselves a step later on. So I see an obvious connection here between 100 and 500. I can multiply by 5. So if I do that, I can multiply by 5 as well to determine the commission. 12.5 times 5, if you do that on a calculator, is going to come out to be 62.5, but we're talking about money here. Remember, the commission is how much someone is getting paid. So it's not 62.5, it's $62.50 because we're talking about money. Another way that you could have done this is to see the connection between 12.5 and 100. 100 divided by 8 is 12.5. So you could do the same thing over here and divide 500 by 8 and also get 62.50 that way. So this is going to go in your composition book on the next available right-hand page in a spot where you also have the left-hand side available. So you want to have blank side on both sides, and we're going to eventually tape this one in on the right side. But first, let's take care of this other foldable, or I guess bit of notes, calculating markup. Markup is probably the hardest one for students out of all of these because you just don't have experience with markup. So what markup is that if someone is selling something in a store, they have to purchase it themselves. Usually you haven't manufactured it for yourself. So they have to buy that shirt or those shoes or that candy bar or whatever. And it is a cost to the seller. That's the person who's selling the item in the store. The cost of the seller is how much they pay for the item, but they're not going to charge you exactly that same amount because then they won't make any profit. So they have to mark up the price. That means that if you buy a candy bar for 50 cents, then you might mark it up by 85 cents and sell it for $1.35. Or you might buy a cheap toy that they might sell at the dollar store. The dollar store might actually buy it for 25 cents each, but then they sell them for $1 each. So the markup would be the extra 75 cents that they charge. So the amount of markup is how much extra the customer is charged above the price that the seller bought the item for. So I want you to write how much extra the customer is charged over the seller's price. Remember, the seller is the person selling the item, not the person buying the item. Over the seller's price. So to calculate markup, you're going to use a proportion. And to find the customer's price, so this is the person shopping at the store, if you're finding the customer's price, you're going to add the amount of markup to the seller's cost. So remember, that's only if you're asked to find the customer's price. So let's look at this example. Tiny's T-shirt company purchases shirts for $20 each. So the company, like the business, the store, purchases T-shirts for $20 each, and they sell those T-shirts in their store for $35 each. The question asks, by what percent do they mark up their merchandise? So we're looking for what percent. That means percent is the unknown. So we're going to set up a proportion just like normal. But the percent is the part that's missing. So percent out of 100. And remember, it's the cost to the seller that goes at the bottom of that proportion. So the cost to the seller, the T-shirt company, is $20 each. But before you jump in and write 35 in that missing spot, you need to think about that. Remember, this spot here is for how much extra the customer is charged above the seller's price. So if the seller bought the T-shirts for $20 each and is going to sell them to the customer for $35, the amount of markup is $15 because $35 that they're charging the customer minus their cost of $20 equals 15. That's where that comes from. So now that you have that proportion, now we can use proportional reasoning to solve. And I see easy connection between 20 and 100. 20 times 5 is 100. So we can do the same thing with the 15. 15 times 5 is 75. So the percent of markup is 75%. That's all. Be very careful on the IXL section about this sort of thing and whether the numbers that you are given in the problem go directly into the proportion or whether you need to do something with those numbers to determine things like what is the amount of markup.